guys, I feel real weird. Hi guys, my name's Alexandra, and the first thing I want to tell you about this video is that it's going to be really interactive. So I'll be asking you a lot of different questions, hoping for some feedback here, but if you don't, it's okay, because then I'll just call on you, and you will have been volunteered by me. Okay, so tell me or you don't have to tell me, but just think in your head, what's the very first thing you think of when I say this word? The word is stars. Ready, set, go. Okay, so with stars, you might have thought of something like celebrities, maybe like Miley Cyrus, Johnny Depp, Leonardo DiCaprio, stuff like that. But since we're in a geology class, you might have had more earthy kind of things on the brain. So you probably might have thought of of stars, obviously. Whoa! So obviously you probably thought of like stars in the sky and like maybe the different groups they come in. And those groups of stars are called what? That's right, they're called constellations. And that's what I've done my project on. So I would like you guys right now to name a few well-known, or not necessarily well-known, but just ones that you know. Constellations that you know. That's what I'm going for. So I'm gonna just wait here for like a couple seconds. Alright, that's long enough. So since I'm recording this right now, I don't really know what you guys have said. So I'm hoping you guys mention something like Orion's Belt, or some of the zodiac constellations like Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, that's me, or like Sagittarius or something. Okay, so what I'm gonna do right now is future me is going to pull up a map of the night sky where you can put in different months and different times during the night, like I think it's like between 6 and 12 or something, and you put in the different months and it'll show you where the constellations are about in the sky at that time and at that month. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and pull that up right now and I'll be back. Okay, so what we're gonna do next is play a quick little game. It's not too hard, I promise, but we're just gonna get in groups, maybe like your lap groups or whatever you prefer. So we're just gonna get in some groups and I'm gonna roll over the mouse. So I'm going to roll over the screen with the mouse, and you guys are gonna have to figure out where the constellations are. It sounds harder than it is, but it's not, I promise, because it's kids astronomy, and I thought that would be good since a lot of us in here are going to be teachers or whatever, so I thought it would just be kind of like a little thing to pull that in. Alright, so I hope you guys enjoyed that quick little game. But I really want you to tell me right now, what are some of the constants that you did? So just tell me some of the constellations that maybe you didn't know the names of before, or maybe you figured out they were in the north or the south. Just something like that. So yeah, gonna take a quick little break again. Let's do this. So what I'm gonna be doing right now is obviously what you've all been waiting for. So I'm actually going to be talking to you a little bit more about constellations and answering a couple questions about them that I found that I thought were pretty interesting. So let's hop to it. So the first question is, are the stars in a constellation near each other? I'm curious to know what you think. Do you think that they're all near each other? So not necessarily. Each constellation is like a collection of stars that are distributed in space in 3 different dimensions: their size, their distance from Earth, and their temperature. And the stars all look the same. What's the word? They look close to each other just because we're looking at them from so far away. So they may look like they're all like, here's one, here's one, here's one, but in reality it's more like, here's one way over here and here's one way over there. The next question I have is, how are the constellations named? How do you think they're named? So as it turns out, most of the constellations that we know actually come from places like ancient Middle Eastern cultures, Greek cultures, and Roman cultures. They identified the clusters of the constellations as gods, goddesses, animals, and different objects in their stories. However, there were other cultures that used the stars too, like the Native Americans, the Asians, Africans. They've all used the stars to do different things that may have been related to ceremonial or religious reasons, or they may have like marked different times between like planting and harvesting. So stuff like that. It's just different cultures had different purposes. Next question. Are all stars part of a constellation? Your turn. So I'm hoping the pretty obvious answer to that question is no, because there are billions of stars and only like a small fraction of them actually make up the different shapes of the constellations. All of the stars though fall within the 88 constellation regions. Next one. How are stars and other objects in the sky named and located? This one's a tough one, so let's see what you got. So today's stars are named by their coordinates on the celestial sphere, which is actually an imaginary sphere surrounding the Earth. Earth's north and south poles can be extended in space to this sphere, marking the north and south celestial poles, the poles around which the sphere spins. So the equator actually divides the Earth into the northern and the southern hemispheres. So the stars and all the objects in space can be mapped relative to the poles and the equator of the celestial sphere. Okay, the next question is, why do we see different constellations during the year? That one's kind of obvious. The constellations shift gradually to the west, which is caused by the Earth's orbit around the sun. So that one's kind of an easier question for you. So my final question for you is, what is the zodiac? And I'm sure a lot of you have heard of it, like horoscope-y kind of things. So I mentioned earlier that, like, talking about a few different constellations found on the zodiac, and our Earth orbits around the sun once a year, and our sun appears to trace a circular path. And the path is called the plane of the ecliptic, or it can also just be called the ecliptic. The zodiac belt is the zodiac is a belt. That's what it is. The zodiac is a belt of constellations that fall along the plane, and that's where through these constellations that our sun appears like to pass during the year. And there are 12 astrological constellations of the zodiac, but 13 astronomical zodiac constellations. And those are Capricornus, Aquarius, Pisces, Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, Virgo, Libra, Scorpius, me again, Sagittarius, and the 13th one is Ophiuchus, I think is what that's called. And so this was actually used by ancient cultures to determine the time of the year. Yep. Alrighty guys, so that's all I really have on constellations. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them as soon as I'm done. And I hope you enjoyed my presentation on constellations, and hope you learned a little bit about my topic. Alright, bye!